Someone said, "Why am I going to pay $500 for a picture of a hobo?"
I always thought Kyle Beckerman was a good player.
Fire sticking their foot in it.
They said they were going to cut my food rations.
Cork soaking.
There is no possible way to articulate the malaise, the lack of ambition, the way it's felt for so long to be a fan better than he did. We are the Enemies of the Fire podcast, and on this week's episode, we are going to be talking about controversy in the U.S. Open Cup, controversy in Major League Soccer, controversy in the supporter section even. So, I am FC Neo Tokyo. That is DPG. That is James. Gentlemen, how are we doing this week?
Not too shabby. Chicago Fire coming off that point away.
Yes.
I got to say, I mean, we talked about in our last show, but no, I was pleased with the results. But there's been some news that's happened. Gutman, do we save Chicago Fire for the end?
We're saving the fire talk. We're saving the fire talk.
I kind of like how we do that. I like how we do that. We build up to it.
We build up to the Chicago Fire. They gotta keep them wanting more, man. All right, I feel you, bud. Listen, so before we get to all of that, let's depress everybody.
Okay, so we have the DPG emotional roller coaster segment. coming up.
Oh boy, I can't wait. So is this in any way, shape, or form related to the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup and the rumors to which the format of the competition will take?
No, I'm actually pissed off about that.
Roller coaster there.
That's not a roller coaster. That's just like a fist through a drywall type of thing.
Oh boy,
It's been pointed out.
I know. James, so have you heard James?
Yes, I heard. I'm a little upset, but also I'm wondering how much I do care. And they finally called my bluff. Because, I did watch U.S. Open Cup games, and I watched all the last U.S. Open Cup games because Chicago Fire kind of always try in the U.S. Open Cup games. So I was a little miffed why we didn't continue on with that. And to hear that Chicago Fire are not going to be able to partake in it this year and try and go for a fifth one while other clubs can, that feels like the Chicago Fire were robbed of an opportunity. And that feels wrong.
I 100% agree. So the rumor is, this isn't 100% official, but the rumor is that the top 8 seeded MLS clubs in the Supporter Shield standings that are not also in CCL are going to be in the U.S. Open Cup, which leaves the Chicago Fire on the outside looking in, which is pretty depressing because, like I said, we're one of probably 6 teams that actually super care about this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a bummer. I super care about it. Like, I remember having to drag my ex after a 12-hour shift of hers to a Buffalo, or no, not even, to a Tilted Kilt to have to watch the Fire play Seattle in the final of the U.S. Open Cup because I don't even remember why it was so hard to get, but I couldn't watch it at home.
Is it possible to get the U.S. Open Cup?
Yeah.
For some whatever reason.
Well, in the last couple of years, it's been on YouTube. That's been awesome.
Yep. Yes.
I mean,
the U.S. Open Cup is like, first of all, it's very historic for the Fire. Personally, I would watch U.S. Open Cup matches with the Fire religiously. I've gotten a couple of times where I've actually gone into a park and watched a Fire U.S. Open Cup with like 200-300 other people. The fact that the league pulled this, it's disappointing and frustrating. Because this is a tournament.
I don't want leagues or Nations League or Leagues Cup or whatever it is. I don't want it.
And I get it. It's a money grab because, they want to bring out those Liga MX fans. And that's fine. But if you're going to do that, at least give the option to teams that want to participate in the U.S. Open Cup. Give them that ability. Not just make your own rules on the fly because
8 teams,
you're more worried about, your financial outcome of different tournaments. You're spread out.
Yeah, it's garbage. We have the CCL. Like, that's where we're supposed to play Liga MX teams. You know what I mean? Like, it's just irritating because we're at a historic race for 5,
Yeah.
It's us, isn't it? Us, KC, and Seattle are all tied at 4.
Correct.
We used to wear that moniker Kings of the Cup like a freaking crown around that place, man. We used to just like that was like here's even more. That was the first ever Fire game I went to, was a US Open Cup game. They actually played down in Peoria. They played against Columbus Crew. That was the first Fire game I ever went to.
What was the scoreline?
We won in penalties.
Okay.
Kalen Carr played 120 minutes.
You know what? I still remember the US Open Cup match where I forgot where they were playing. It was downstate. And I guess the Fire fans had brought in flares and smoke bombs or whatever.
Khalil Anibaba.
Khalil Anibaba had like midfield goal. That one always sticks in my head.
That was beautiful. That was also that was the same place that I saw my first game, but that wasn't the one. It was years before that.
There was another one too. When they trashed Orlando City SC before they went into the MLS, they were still a USL team. And I think that was the one like Mike McGee. It was like a 5-1 route. Like Mike McGee scored. It was a beautiful. It was like one of those games that are always gonna be stuck in your head because that was like a moment, So
I'm bummed about it, man. For real. Like I even remember the one that got like lightning and rained out, and so it was free the next day. I told work, I was like, I'm gonna go make some sales calls. So I drove down to Toyota Park, and at the time, and I had my tie and everything on. I'm watching the game.
Man, that's the thing. What I did today too is actually I reached out to my season ticket holder rep, and I told them like, keep in mind it was via text. I'm like, hey, look, I'm very disappointed and frustrated that the
I'm
Fire.
glad you did, because they take that information and move it up.
And I said that. And I told them on the text, I'm like, I want you to pass this on to whatever proper channels it is. But I'm disappointed and frustrated that the Fire could potentially not play in the US Open Cup. So if you're like, send it up the chain, and I'm sure people did that today too. I'm hoping more people did that. So like, I need Joe Mansueto, I need George Heiss to go fight like hell and try to get MLS to let the Fire go on the US Open Cup. Because we want to chase number 5.
I doubt Joe Mansueto was one of the owners that didn't want this.
Let's make a promise as fans that we'll freaking attend one of these games and start demanding that, and then we'll say, hey, that's the olive branch that we will offer as fans, because I think this is one of the most not attended matches of their season. As you said, you said you were there for you were there with like 200 people plus the staff.
And that's the thing. If you don't want to host it on at Soldier Field, then host it at Toyota Park.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Hell yeah.
I asked my brother, I'm like, hey, do you want to go to the home opener? First thing he asked me, is it going to be at Toyota Park? I'm like, no, it's going to be at Soldier Field. Maybe next time. Let me know when they play at Toyota Park.
That's what my brother's been saying. How wild is that?
I love Soldier Field. I love going to Soldier Field. But
I have no horse in this race because I live out in the north suburbs. So either way,
either one is a pain for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and that's the thing. If you want to host it at Toyota Park, then by all means, maybe when you get to the semifinals,
then go back to Soldier Field. But
then go back to Soldier Field.
I mean, Seattle does that. They have that place, Starfire or whatever, that they play games at. It's cool. It's a chance to, it just, everything about the U.S. Open Cup is cool and could be awesome, but no one's
could be better.
Anything. It's heartbreaking.
And I think another thing I mentioned in the Fire server on Discord was, if there was any reason why supporter groups need to work together and protest, this is it. Like, get together, make a huge banner saying, you want the Fire in the US Open Cup, and bring it to the home opener.
Cup.
Why do we gotta do that, man? I just honestly, I'm thinking I just want to go to a game of soccer in the town that I live and enjoy the team that I watch. And maybe we win, and maybe we draw, and maybe we lose, but we make friends along the way.
Yeah.
Why is it gotta be so fucking hard?
Toke, we're lucky to have soccer. We're one of 28 cities that has an MLS team. Think about that. Amongst the myriad of cities in MLS, yet that we do not have a proper pyramid where a team like Detroit City can elevate to a point where they are feeling as happy as we are because their team is, real, so to speak.
Hashtag Boise for MLS.
Have a blue
Boise
soccer
for
field.
MLS.
Have a blue soccer field too. That'd be pretty cool.
That's my argument with the U.S. Open Cup. Like, look, I get it. MLS wants to make money. They wanna fill in their coffers, even though
US soccer got to eat too.
Yeah, U.S. soccer got to eat, and I get it. You're running out of cities to charge $500 million to have an MLS team.
Yeah,
I get it.
Real.
But come on.
For me, the bottom line is this was the wrong move at the wrong time. I can't stress that enough. The wrong move at the wrong time. I don't agree with it. I'm a little less passionate than you guys about it, as you guys can see, but at the same time, I feel like the Fire have been wronged, and that makes me passionate because I think they've been denied a proper chance to win a trophy. If this does go through, they're failing to respect one of the coolest cups in the world. Yep. And that's just not properly marketed in the land of marketing. You can't find someone who can freaking market this shit. You're kidding me. You want to know what the real problem is? The deep-seated problem is we got a leader like Don Garber who's done a lot for the sport, I got to say. He's done a lot to stabilize the sport, but to me, he still seems like a minion of football, where NFL football, a stooge, where he's like put here to keep soccer firmly in its place, right, sucking the nice cork soaking of the NFL, and I feel like that. I question his leadership now. I question that leadership, and because it's about the almighty dollar, and like this guy, this wrongs the fans more so than the clubs. It really robs the fans of an opportunity and they're like, oh, we got other games, we got other competition. Yeah, but they all fucking suck and they're corporate as shit. Yep. This was real. This was homegrown. This was a USA fucking flag on it. Pardon my French, but
James goes all American all over there.
Yes. You guys know me. That's what I am. You guys know me. That's what I'm a patriot at the end of the day. It's really what I am. That's why I support everybody. I try to support all the Americans, but as best I can. But I feel like this is a failure of MLS, and it's a failure on the U.S. Soccer Federation as well.
They had so much more power than they exhibited, which is wild.
There's a mega failure here that's illustrated on both sides. We can't just pretend that it's not U.S. Soccer's fault, that MLS is like, this isn't that valuable to us anymore, guys.
Well, it's U.S. Soccer's fault that this thing hasn't had a TV or a streaming deal for the last 10 years.
Valuable. It's not valued by these teams who by these owners, by this league. And that's what's shocking, because it was valued by the fans on a weird basis, because I mean, honestly, it wasn't really supported by the gate. If you look at the gate ticket,
well, it did,
and that's what MLS is looking. But you guys said
it's
YouTube. It's on YouTube. All of a sudden, like, it's starting to gain traction. MLS is only like less than 25 years old, guys. Like, people don't fucking get this. Like, we haven't had these top flight competitions. And think about EPL. EPL's only since 1992.
This is the equivalent of the FA
older league.
This is like the equivalent of the FA Cup. Every big league has some sort of tournament like this, where it's like an FA Cup style tournament. And going back to Don Garber,
1 minute on the clock, boys.
If he's pushing that, at that point you kind of have to question his leadership. Maybe it is time for him to step down. Maybe someone else needs to come in and bring this league to the next level.
The problem is we're romantics. He's doing an amazing job, and he's out in front of the rest of the world right now. And eventually there'll be a bunch of money funneling in, but it's going to be ugly, and it's going to be less fun, and there's going to be way less heart in the sport.
And this brings the whole argument about how maybe it's time for the MLS to be independent sports team owners. where
I think so, 100%.
we're not relying on a centralized league to make decisions like this.
Right.
Leave it
Speaking
up
of
to
ugly,
the teams.
Sorry.
Leave it up to the teams to decide if they want to go to the U.S. Open Cup or not. If a team like Cincinnati, Philadelphia, their schedule's booked, they don't need to send a team. Forget it. But if a team like the Fire, who pretty much just has the season and that tournament with the Liga MX, they will like to be in this tournament. So my thing is, leave it up to the teams. Don't let a committee of 4 people to decide this.
Right.
And boo Nelson Rodriguez.
An opportunity for silverware is an opportunity for silverware, and an opportunity for a commercial is right now. We'll catch you guys on the flip side of this, hanging out here on Enemies of the Fire, and we'll be coming back. We're gonna be talking. Let's see. We're gonna be talking anything MLS, USMNT, some stuff about Gio. We got Messi. We got Guti. We got Kuipers. We got Portland. And you'll see why later, coming up here on Enemies of the Fire. Catch you guys on the flip side. This, my friends, is the heart of Chicago.
Nah, man, the heart of Chicago. It's the Chicago Fire Soccer Club.
No, yeah, you're both wrong. It's us, the people, the fans. But by the way, who would win in a deep dish pizza tossing competition? The keeper or the striker?
Goalie, the keeper, hands down.
Nah, man, it's the striker, the man that goes for glory, the difference maker.
No, it's the guy. Have you seen
that's
those
one
saves?
thing we can agree on. Nobody eats deep dish, by the
Nobody
way.
eats deep dish, bro. It's thin crust, man. Thin crust. Deep dish is the tourist traps. I'm gonna tell you straight up. I don't remember the last time I had a deep dish.
A couple months ago.
Nah, for me, it's been like over a year, easy.
Jeez. Yeah, it's pizza soup.
Nah, man. Last time I had a deep dish pizza was a Beggar's back in Welcome back, Enemies of the Fire. We're here to talk all things MLS. Did you guys see anything cool this weekend?
Cool?
At all?
I don't know about cool.
Not
but
cool.
In the last couple hours, the Portland Timbers have terminated their corporate partnership with Dabella. The Portland Timbers, and this is a message from RCITD, the Portland Timbers have terminated the club's corporate partnership with Dabella, effective immediately after learning yesterday of allegations of misconduct at the company included in a court filing that was made public on February 23rd. Funny story about that. This is an aside. I got an article here from November 17th detailing a lot of the concerns. So it's kind of interesting that they're like,
Oh, that's right. I forgot the fans freaked out when they announced it.
Right. So there's articles I'm reading here from the Herald News. Just talking about, I'll read that here in a second, but back to the Portland communication. The Timbers and a third-party firm conducted a thorough pre-deal vetting process, and the club did not learn of the filing until February 27th of this year.
So basically, someone pulled off a Vince McMahon.
Oh yeah, what did Vince get away with?
No, let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that. Oh man, it's scary.
Hold on.
NBA?
Just came up. R.I.P. Virgil. I don't know the man's real name.
Yeah.
The wrestler guy passed away.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Anyway, go ahead.
I'm a fan of wrestling. It sounds like we got some secret fans of wrestling on here. This decision was rooted in the responsibility we have to our fans, supporters, partners, and employees to transparently reflect and uphold the values and expectations of our community. It was a few months too late for some fans, but a couple days right on time once they really learn. Here's what in the corporate world is like. You can't go by hearsay. You got to wait for the ink to settle, so to speak. The ink settled, and it was not good. So, boom, partnership severed between Art Timbers and Dabella. It makes me wonder about the Chicago Fire and Carvana.
Oh man, you want to open that can of worms?
Well, there's more to this with this Dabella thing, and it goes in. They talk about how Portland was really failing to attract any suitors after Alaskan Airlines had left. And Alaskan Airlines is like 25 times the money of Dabella and stuff. So like that fact that nobody bigger or near bigger or smaller than Alaska Airlines was looking at this deal shows that for some reason something shrank with the Timbers front of their chest. It makes me wonder about the Chicago Fire in that same light with Carvana and the limitations. Like, why is Boeing?
Here's the thing.
Why is it not Boeing?
Here's the thing. Portland signed a mom and pop shop,
Mm-hmm.
all right, as a sponsor. The Fire signed an infamous used car vendor.
Right.
You know, national.
Hey, they help a lot of people, but they apparently screw some people too.
So apparently,
supposedly.
So my thing is this.
Allegedly.
So the CEO of DeBella was involved in some very, very bad stuff. You know, with the lawsuit going on and everything, and you know, it's unfortunate that things like that happen. Now, my thought is, couldn't the company take steps to remove him off that post and have a conversation with Portland and say, hey.
Now you're getting into things that I have not been caught up on this whatsoever. Like, I would have no way of knowing any of that stuff. It's just,
I believe it's like a VP or something.
It was the CEO. I did see that because I checked it right before we came on. But the plan apparently is to go with no sponsor, right?
I believe so. They're dropping DeBella, who's a home improvement contractor. Many who were unfamiliar with the company took to search engines to find out more back in November of 2023, landing in places like Reddit, Yelp, and the Better Business Bureau website. One is likely to find a breadth of negative views, concerns about the business owner's past ventures, and ethical questions. But what does that mean in the broader context, and why did the Timbers enter a partnership with a company with so much negativity swirling around online, particularly given the club itself is trying to repair its reputation following years of off-field scandal?
So if I'm hearing this correctly, they were desperate. And what you're suggesting is that the Chicago Fire were also desperate and we're like, oh, this shady car company, dope.
And they're not, I wouldn't say they're shady, but they've done shady things.
Well, don't they?
So wouldn't that not qualify as being shady?
Yeah, I would think so, yes.
Allegedly.
Didn't they need to go to court just to get him to do business in the state of Illinois?
Well, yeah, there's a current injunction that is allowing them to do business.
That's why I'm looking at this. That's why I'm looking at this like.
So you think I'm going to get my dream confetti kit again? We're going to get the Carvana ripped off the front before the end of the year?
It might get rare. It might become rare.
It would be weird for the Fire to have a team sponsor that cannot do business in the state of Illinois.
Right.
That would be interesting.
I mean, we appealed to Iowa and Wisconsin and Indiana as well, right?
Yeah. Let me continue at least this next line here. The answer to what the question is of whether or not they're deserving of questioning this company is more complicated than what appears on the surface. While the Timbers declined the Oregon Live's request, this is the article I'm reading from the heraldnews.com, to address these concerns, industry experts made it clear there is more nuance to the situation with DeBella than the internet might present.
So there's more dirt.
There's either more dirt or there's more money.
Oh.
So my thing is this: first of all, Portland didn't take the proper steps to vet their sponsors. They should have really dug deep in here and find out what's going on. Second of all, can the company just replace the CEO and say, "Hey, we moved on"? Pull off basically like a Papa John situation.
It depends. It depends on that. But you did bring up Papa John's. That guy was pretty entangled into that business, but I guess it depends. I mean, were you saying they're a general contractor, or were you saying they're
a home improvement contractor, according to the article?
Yeah, see, so that it could be sole ownership type of stuff.
Yeah. So there's not a whole lot of levels within the corporate ladder, so to speak.
Guys, it makes me wonder about this. How hard is it in this particular day and age to find a corporate sponsor on your shirt that is guilt-free or, kind of free of sin, so to speak? Because God forbid if Chicago Fire had Chick-fil-A on their jerseys. how much consternation would that cause for
I would not
fans
like that
of Harold's Chicken?
I mean,
there is multiple reasons why I would not be a fan of that.
I mean, there's certain
Well,
people
we
that want to
represent
die on
Harold's
that hill.
Chicken in this house.
No, no chicken. Oh man,
Well-
R.I.P. Skinny Butcher. I don't know what happened, but they closed down. Used to taste exactly like Chick-fil-A.
Dude, Harold's
R.I.P.,
is
baby.
legit. That's where I go.
I mean, in a city like Chicago,
Lems.
especially with a lot of companies having their HQs here,
Yeah,
you
Purdue.
would think
That's gross. Don't do it.
That you would think it
Allegedly.
shouldn't be that hard for the Fire to find a sponsorship in the city of Chicago. I understand Portland. You really got to dig. You really got to.
Doesn't that seem
But it
weird?
doesn't matter
DPG?
where you are. Like,
It does. It
Fly
does.
Emirates sponsors Arsenal or
Boeing.
whoever,
Again,
right?
then. Okay, but that's you're talking about a Premier League team. We're talking about Portland here. If they had to settle for like a mom and pop shop, that means that there was not a whole lot of options on the table for them to take up a sponsorship.
Honestly, if I was like the biggest florist in America, I would have gone after the Portland Timbers. Like, imagine you're like a florist and you're like mom and pop's florist. That would be great.
Yeah,
But like,
I mean,
they don't got billions and millions of dollars to pay for this corporate sponsorship, so like they're not even on the table. It's smaller type corporations like Valspar
Well, it's
Yeah,
gotta be
and
something
Topps
that,
trading cards.
Well,
That's
it's
a
got to make
national
sense.
company,
Why?
True.
It's got to sell to people. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
there's a reason. Like,
It's got to have.
there's a
value.
reason. Like, Valspar didn't work because it's paint. Like, you just buy paint when you need to paint. Like,
Nah,
you're
you go to
not out here
Belgium
like,
War
oh
and-
man,
yeah.
On
I'm
the
thinking about
sponsorship
giving me that
side-
paint.
well, here's the thing. From the sponsorship side, if I remember correctly, they actually gave the supporter groups like painting stuff to do their
Oh,
banners.
that
and
is
stuff.
cool though. I will say
From
that.
that point, it works. But you're right. They just sell paint. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can offer. Your normal regular fans that are not supporter groups.
So one
It's
thing,
not like Quaker.
one thing we I know one thing we often and what happened to Quaker? Quaker wasn't feeling the value enough to stay around. So,
That was a good partnership. It seemed.
but
It was.
it didn't last, and that's my wondering. Also, I wonder how much benefit a Portillo's would go, because first of all, it's not healthy. So you got people going like, "Oh, you're selling hot dogs and death," but everybody, I think, a lot of people would be like, "That's fucking this part of my French. That's the sweetest freaking jersey. Give me a Portillo's."
Well,
here."
If I'm gonna take off my capitalism is bad hat
Yes,
and put it down,
I love it.
it would make sense on a business level because you can tell that since it's been sold, they're spreading out slowly to make it like still hip instead of just like across the nation. So it's just like, but they're trying to go nationwide.
No.
So that would be
guys.
the perfect.
They are.
We are making a horrible mistake right now talking about the small time. The fact that Chicago Fire does not have McDonald's on their jersey, to me, is the biggest number one sign that they don't give a fuck, they don't care, and they'll never matter in the city of Chicago.
It's
you get
McDonald's.
McDonald's on your kit.
It's McDonald's,
You
bro.
get McDonald's on your kit. It's the number one employer in Chicago. It's the number one employer in the world. Don't come at me. It's also the number one company headquartered in
here's the
Chicago
thing.
outside of Boeing. Get McDonald's on here, and LeBron James is coming to Chicago Fire. I guarantee you he will munch a Big Mac, yum, 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 straight on
Didn't
the
they
middle of
used to
Soldier
give
Field, and
Big
he'll look
Macs
around and
after
be
a
like, I
win?
never thought I'd be marching in MJ's footsteps. Yum, 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 yum.
Do you think they'd even get into the office at Oak Brook Terrace? Doug, I used to, like, when I was first starting out my career, I kind of worked under a guy who did a lot of business with McDonald's over there. And like, I'm talking a lot of business. Like, you should notice him, not like, you should be like, oh yeah, come on in, say hi. They would never see him, not once. They're like, we don't want you around, go away. Like, do you think the Fire are getting that meeting?
Nope.
Yeah,
Over at
doesn't
McDonald's?
Miguel Navarro work there after they made some connections?
Wow.
Guys, come on. We're thinking small here. It's freaking
Okay.
McDonald's.
Maybe McDonald's is a little too high of a
Bring
bar.
back that
What about
chick
this?
who really liked hockey and tennis, who was the president of the Fire, and let her matriculate with the people of McDonald's.
Wait, is
make
she
it
not
happen.
still the president?
No.
She gone.
She left.
Dude, she's
You
doing
know
tennis or something now. I don't know.
Well, here's this. What about this? Maybe not McDonald's. Maybe Vienna
Allegedly.
Beef.
Well, yeah,
Maybe.
I mean, or you've got plenty of nationwide brands that have headquarters here.
No, you got so many. I'm looking at McDonald's, ConAgra brands. I know you guys know what it is. Kraft Heinz, of course. We got.
I know what that. I know what ConAgra is.
Oh, you do. I didn't know that. So I didn't. That was me. Mead Johnson Nutrition. Is that Johnson and Johnson? I know Johnson Johnson. Talk. These are
Vienna
names of
Beef,
Grubhub,
Vienna
Home
Beef.
Shelf, Home Chef, Double Good, Pampered Chef, Kitchen. These are all okay. Those were our food companies. GE Healthcare, Motorola, GoGo, Active Campaign, Avant.
We already had Motorola.
Yeah, we had Motorola.
Manufacturing, Tropicana, Little Fuse, Quaker, Mondelez, Armstead.
Holy shit, Little Fuse is from here?
Little Fuse is second on the list. I'm looking at top 12.
Okay,
It's according to Indeed.com.
Let me say this.
Morton Salt.
Maybe.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
That is I'm sorry, I'm freaking out here. Like,
How
think
did
about that.
How did I not think about that? I
How
live
is
right by
Morton
the
Salt
shed.
not on our jersey?
Well,
That would
let me
be the
say this.
meme of the century.
Let me say
Get
this.
Salt Bay out here.
Maybe we cannot get McDonald's and Boeing
1 minute on the
right
clock,
now.
boys.
Right
Sorry.
now. Maybe we can get those guys right now. Let's see what happens after the World Cup.
Well, if MLS doesn't keep shooting itself in the foot, they're going to squander this opportunity, I fear. I think that's what that mafia-style meeting was in Miami with Don Garber.
It's an emergency meeting, boys. Let's talk about that when we come back here on Spit and Fire. We got a little bit more MLS stuff to get into before we break into Chicago Fire. Thanks for hanging out here on Enemies of the Fire. Make sure you guys punt that like button like you're a goalie and you're trying to get it to your striker in the last few seconds of the game so you guys can score the goal. And we'll see you on the other side. Nothing brings us together like Chicago Fire FC and a good slice of deep dish pizza.
Right on the podcast. Wait a second. Dude, nobody eats deep dish. That's the tourist trap pizza, dude. Like, what are we doing here?
Pizza.
What do you get? Let me guess.
It's
what
what's
do you
for
get?
dinner.
Thin crust, right?
Oh,
yeah.
easily.
That's it, man. That's Chicago. If someone says, "Oh, I'm a Chicago person. I love deep dish," they're full of shit. They're not from Chicago.
Vito and Nick's.
Yeah, man. It's all about the thin crust. The deep dish is for the tourists. The thin crust is for the Chicago ones.
It's a
What,
trap.
like AI and write this or something?
Speaking of coming, welcome back to Enemies of the Fire. Here, we're going to talk a little bit about the secret meeting that was a little weird and out of nowhere, guys. Like, kind of seems like I don't know if you know the history of Jekyll Island, but it's like a little Jekyll Island mystery in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, we got to figure out these rules a little bit better.
So it was like Godfather
which
2
owners? Because like 7 or 8 owners went down to Miami to have an emergency meeting with Don Garber about the rules.
And they had an emergency meeting, not an emergency meeting, a planned meeting back in December 8th to 10th or so, approximately. Don't quote me on that, but approximately, allegedly. And they were talking about this stuff, and then it came out of those meetings that Don Garber was like, oh, no forced DP, for sure. Oh, no real big changes, for sure. And then you come to a couple days ago, emergency meeting in Miami. What's going on?
Well, so my question is, it's one of two things. It's the Mansuetos and the Arthur Blanks of the world who want more. Give us more money, more leeway. We want to make a super team like Miami's doing. We're
limited.
It's the Hunts and the New England guy, and they're like, oh man, you should punish Miami. Look at what they're doing. Oh God.
So just for the record, and thanks to the fine folks at Men in Red 97. They do the Lord's work.
They do.
They based on what besides what's going on in that meeting, Joe Mansueto, the owner of the Fire, was not involved in that meeting whatsoever. So
boo.
So this is a meeting of maybe guys that have deeper pockets. I'm not sure.
Well, I often tell you guys, Joe Mansueto's only amongst the top 15 richest billionaires in MLS.
He's higher
There's
on the
at least
ambition
8
list.
to 10 or 12 more.
Yes.
But he's higher
Joe
on the
Mansueto.
ambition list. He's with Arthur Blank. Arthur Blank's like,
Yes.
cool. What? Wait a second. I can't just buy this.
Yes.
Like,
But you billions, you still have pardon my French. You
Joe
billions.
Mansueto actually wants to be like an independent sports team owner. He doesn't want to be tied down
Of course.
with MLS rules.
He's got
He
to do
doesn't want-
teams. He can
he doesn't
transfer
want to
back and
cater.
forth.
He doesn't want to cater to small market teams. You know, he actually wants, and he wants to spend money and buy players that won't be bogged down by MLS roster rules, basically.
so then are we worried he wasn't involved in these talks? Like I said, it's got to be either the guys who want Miami punished for being ambitious or the guys who say, let us go too, please. You know, like if Mansueto's not in that conversation, makes me wonder.
I find it hard to believe that Don Garber is going to meet with like small market team owners.
But they're not small market. They're the Hunts and the Crafts.
Yeah, but you're talking about people that want to spend less money versus people that want to spend more money.
Right.
So, and usually the people that spend more money bring in more money. So, how many Messi jerseys have sold since he signed with Miami? They're selling like hotcakes. Everybody has a Messi jersey now. So
everybody in Chicago has more. There's probably more Messi jerseys in Chicago than there are this year's Fire jerseys. I wouldn't say that.
That would be a good metric to find out.
But
how many more
all
Messi
Fire jerseys combined, I would still say there's probably more all Fire jerseys combined than there are Messi jerseys. But it's probably alarmingly close.
Well, hold on. Let's not go with all Fire jerseys. Let's go with all Fire jerseys with a player's name on the back.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty
all
good.
All the Fire jerseys.
All of them except for not the blank ones.
Yeah.
Right?
So
the ones that have a player's name on it, like who bought Kuipers and Shaqs and whoever else is, versus how many.
But here's the thing, though. Messi's jerseys at one point were sold out. I don't think I've ever seen a Fire player's jersey be sold out.
Never.
So
well, hold on. So we just brought up Messi. I think we are required by law doing a soccer podcast to talk about Messi.
Yes.
Did you guys see either game Messi played this weekend?
Yes.
I really didn't give a shit about Messi.
I have the Messi channel.
You're contractually obligated to.
Tragic.
Look, man. Honestly, for all I care is for my Fire to win. Chances are in August, when the Miami comes to town, he's probably going to be hurt because Miami's going to overuse him like crazy because he's basically a freaking carnival.
Dude, he played seasons in Barcelona where he played 50, 60 games.
Yes.
Yeah, well, he played with people that don't fucking break people's legs either. So
Miami's got its own problems. The pundits are questioning. Pundits are questioning with their ability to maybe last the whole season. But I gotta say, for me, MLS on Apple TV is really more of a Messi channel than a Chicago Fire channel. And that's not to mean that I actually watch more Messi than Chicago Fire. I just identify it as a Messi channel. It is my avenue to Messi. And that is delightful. It's like I have $100. I paid $99 and I get to eat the greatest cake at least 34 times a year. And not just my own Chicago Fire cake, which I love. Chicago Fire boys and girls, I'm bored for the ride, at least for the first 14 games of the season.
It's going to be interesting,
and then
no
you
matter
take the
what.
next 14, and then you take the last 10. But
I'm with you, dude. 14, it's so nice to watch Messi.
It is.
We
it's a
actually
gift.
get to see him.
It's a gift. It's wonderful. You get to watch him walk the majority of the match, and that's no joke.
He tips dead people.
Oh man, yeah, he chips over guys that are hurt on the floor. Like legit injuries.
And then he'll chip over a dead person in the middle of the match, and you'll be like, he was walking just before that, but oh my God, he's sublime. He's absolutely like he's like a soccer drink. What's the most fanciest drink you could get?
Look, I honestly, I don't care much for Messi.
It's an MLS Tom Collins.
Look, honestly, I don't care about Messi. The most excitement I'll get is if I find out that, another MLS team locker room got in a fight because they all want to swap jerseys with Messi.
I don't want people to hurt Messi.
It's once in a lifetime. Like, even if Erling Haaland came over, like, it wouldn't be like this. There's
Mbappe
about
could
another
come,
5
and
or
it wouldn't
6
be
or
like
10
this.
years before we ever have another Ronaldo or Messi.
I agree.
Like, it takes time. Like, it was from Maradona all the way to Messi.
Guys, this isn't Beckham. Beckham was literally never the greatest of his generation. He was also very freaking good.
You also got to add in Zidane in that conversation.
Right. But if MLS had gotten Zidane at that time, that would have been akin to this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I get it. World Cup winner pretty much did the same thing that Maradona did. I get it. I get the excitement. But I don't know if it's because I'm a Chicago Fire fan loyalist, but it's like, to me, it's more of an attraction. He's more of an attraction than he is, the guy, the legend.
It attracts my eyes, that's for sure.
I don't know, man. I feel like look at what Miami was, and then the second he showed up, what they turned into.
Oh yeah,
I know Miami.
You know what Miami is right now? You know what Miami is? Miami is like a retirement team. Suarez doesn't even run; he jogs. Busquets.
He's so right.
Busquets,
listen, when have you ever seen a shark swim fast, man? It stalks and then it bites. That's Suarez.
Great
He
white.
can't even do that. He can't even do that. He can't even. You have Busquets screaming at the coach because he's frustrated. He can't do much anymore physically.
So you bring up a great point. So this was being talked about in one of the podcasts I was listening to, the great MLS Extra Time podcast, and they were talking about their concern for MLS and Messi's team specifically, because Busquets looks like he's slow. Looks like he doesn't have it. Yes, he's skilled. He's starting to look. It sounded like Bastian Schweinsteiger. It sounded like his movement's gone. He's got skill on the ball, but the game is moved by moving players, not by standing still. If it was a game of standing still, Bastian Schweinsteiger, Sergio Busquets, probably some of the best players in MLS today.
You're talking about a shark. You're talking about a shark. And you put, Suarez's name next to that. You don't know the irony behind that, bro, man. The man
that's the joke.
I'm just thinking about it now.
The man takes bites out of people, so he's going to bite. He might be too slow for that, too. A lot, and I was watching the Miami game over the weekend, and the commentators were actually talking about how Suarez hasn't done a lot of movement. So that's it, man.
I think I just slayed Toke.
Oh, God. No, you know what? You might have to play that again for the next thing I want to talk about.
What is it?
Well, remember how Gio Reyna used to play soccer? It doesn't seem like he does that anymore.
Well, his friends are not going to bitch and whine on his behalf?
Dude, he's not getting any minutes at Forest. And
really?
It's like, yeah, and that's where I think we all got on, and talked about the World Cup when it was going on. It was just like, if Gio's not in the right headspace, he's not the right one. Sit him. I mean, Jordan Morris ain't the right one, but still.
Oh, God. Though, why would you say Jordan Morris, man? Man, the guy was too scared to go to Europe. That's why he stayed in Seattle.
See, that's so mean. So mean.
Hey, this is not even an opinion. This is something I heard from one of his teammates that played with him in Seattle. I forgot who. Or in the U.S. men's national team. That he had a chance to go to Europe, to Germany. And I think he was talking to I forgot the guy's name, certain teammate. about, oh, should I go to should I stay in Seattle? Should I go to Germany? And the guy told him, no, you should go to Germany. Become a better player. The guy ended up staying in Seattle. So if he's too scared to go to Germany, he's too scared to win a World Cup.
Dude, okay, that wasn't even what I want. I'm worried about Gio Reyna. But before I talk about that, I will say this. I would kill to have Jordan Morris's career. Like, legit, that's a great
Jordan
career.
Morris on the fire.
Right,
Guys,
he gets to
are
live in
you
the country
kidding
of his
me?
birth, where he's most comfortable. He's got his boys on the team. He's a good. He's in the community. He's playing well, or he plays well. He just has exploded his legs a couple times.
And he probably voted for Biden. This guy's great.
Jesus, well, you had to go there. You had to go there.
Specifically, we specifically stay out of politics.
Yeah, we stay out of politics.
That was just
man.
a funny joke to lay.
No,
So-
it was pretty good.
So here's the thing.
It's from Seattle.
If you want to be the best, you got to play with the best.
Nah, maybe
And-
you don't want to be the best. Maybe you just want to slay and hang out at home, man, and play good soccer and win championships.
Every World Cup winning team has players that are playing in top leagues. They want to be.
How many cups does Jordan Morris have? Hold on here.
Doesn't Jordan Morris have
slandered.
World Cup caps? Did he go to the World Cup?
Yes, that's why he came up, because he came in and
Guys, he's got
went
World
into
Cup
the game
cap.
instead of Reyna. That's why I even
Jesus.
brought him up to begin with.
Jesus. We got 1 minute on the clock here.
Yeah, just kill it. This Jordan Morris slander has
Look,
got me
man,
upset.
Gio Reyna just needs to get his dad to go bitch
Jeez.
about him on his behalf. Okay, that's all that he needs to do. Okay, he wants minutes. He needs to get his dad to call the head coach for Force and tell him how his son needs to be playing soccer like he's in a Sunday league. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. This man has won a Gold Cup and multiple MLS Cups.
So what does a CONCACAF Gold Cup do right next to the FIFA World Cup? Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Say it again. Now.
And you talk
Whoa.
about the MLS Cup like it's a Premier League title. Like
Right.
it's not even in the same spectrum, bro. I get it. You're a Jordan Morris fan. I get that. All right.
Apologist.
I am.
You're an
Apologist.
apologist.
I like Jordan Morris.
Right. You want a U.S. men's national team star? Look towards Christian Pulisic. All right.
Or look
Christian
towards
is the man.
Guti. And we'll come back with that here on Enemies of the Fire right around the break. Catch us on the next time, because we're going to be talking a little Guti and the Chicago Fire when we return. Kick that like
That's
button.
what we call a season.
Go get yourself a Seattle jersey.
In a world where soccer dreams rarely come true for the average fan, one event at Toyota Park changed everything. This is the story of the day a penalty kick became legend.
I thought it was a prank at first. Me take a penalty kick at Toyota Park against Sparky? No way.
So, the training began. Right then and there.
Welcome back, enemies of the fire. Fuck. Anyway, welcome back, enemies of the fire.
Speaking of
we are here. We are here to talk about controversy within Chicago Fire. Hashtag CF97 land. DPG, bring me up to speed, man. What's going on here?
So I'm not sure about the whole controversy on Twitter. I am going
Well, I
based
just
on
call all internet, even just
everything's
reporting. I call
controversy.
all
Okay,
internet.
everything.
Yeah.
Hashtag CF97.
So Jiggly, who writes for Men in Red 97. Again, they do the Lord's work. He created a very good article about Chicago Fire fandom and whatnot. Everything looked great. The only thing I didn't like personally, and I tried to talk to him about it a little bit on the Fire server, was his approach. First of all, questioning, whether or not a certain Fire fan would still be supporting the Fire, despite the fact that they wrote a whole thesis on what are the best things about being a Fire fan.
I believe they wrote that like when they were maybe on their way out, so to speak.
And this
that's
was
what I've heard. Is that what I've heard?
The fan we're speaking of is Brandon Kitchens, correct?
Brandon Kitchens, yeah. So we're talking about
who's in the Ring of Fire.
Right, he's in the Ring of Fire. I will say this. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I literally got into the Fire and not just the sport of soccer the same year the kid passed away. So I don't even know if our paths ever, even crossed during my enjoyment of the team. But yeah, to DPG's point, what you're saying, I kind of feel like it's easy. It's what I call the Kurt Cobain theory. He was never alive long enough to make a bad record or say something shitty about somebody. He seemed like a pretty awesome dude, but it's hard to go back and put words in his mouth or say what he would or would not stand for right now. But I do overall, as a general idea, love the idea of the thought process and the actually, let's take a look at this hard topic of okay, so this person never had the chance to get to where we are now, but would that person have been lost with so many others that we've lost along the way? And how it's not just that they've been bad too, it's just how oppressive the front office has been, just how much any kind of joy has been sucked out of things. So it's I do like that as a thought experiment, and so I know some people would be touchy about that, but I mean, I don't know, maybe there is a better way of putting it, maybe there isn't. But I don't have any kind of problem with the thought experiment, and then even the idea behind it, which was, hey man, let's actually let's just leave that in the past for a little bit. We need a reset. Let's do something new for a little while.
And
that
it's
I don't
an
think
evolution.
How do you ever come up with a new tradition? And then how does anything ever become nostalgic if you only do one thing forever? And then if you do that, it becomes not a tradition, it becomes a routine, and it loses any kind of impact that it has. So I don't know, like I said, I like the idea of the thoughts behind it.
But my thing is this. You have Brandon Kitchen, who actually took time to write this, I call it a thesis about being
stand and deliver
about being a Fire fan, right? Anybody that takes time to write something like that, they really have the fire in their heart. And I would like to think that he will still be a fan. I wouldn't necessarily think that he'll stop being a fan, because I'm a big Fire fan, but I can never see myself writing something like that. There are Fire fans that take inspiration with what he wrote. Even some of the newer Fire fans might have read what he wrote and said, "Hey, wow, this is inspiring."
Well, I know what the kid's name is, and I know what Stand and Deliver is, and I never met him or was even a fan at the same time he was with us with us. So I went back and found out. You know what I mean? When I became a fan, that type of thing, because soccer is a different kind of sport. You have more of a community to it.
But I mean, overall, the article itself, the rest of the article, it was great. I think Jiggly actually, wrote it on as a continuation of that. There's an emphasis on the hard times, but pulling through as a united fan base through all the hardships, through all the losses. saying, hey, we still are Fire fans, even though we might be bottom of the league or towards the bottom of the league. We might not make the playoffs all the time, but we still need to stand and deliver.
With Jiggly, I'm looking at some of these people that were commenting about his article, and I felt that they had a warranted argument to make. At the same time, I also felt that Jiggly brought up, as you guys said, an interesting thought experiment, even though maybe he didn't have the most deft hand in getting there. Because it starts with, as we can all tell you, addressing difficult topics in any setting, whether it's social media, tweeting, or YouTube or podcasting, is public. And public discussions like these things are sensitive sometimes, and but yet they can bring insight and knowledge and genuine engagement to things we might not otherwise think about. And Jiggly was earnestly trying to bring that to what he thought Brandon Kitchens was about. I definitely see that, what he was envisioning in his article, and I also can see that it didn't work out the way he wanted it to. But that's what it takes. That's what sometimes happens when you have passion and bravery to go to places and talk about things that matter. And I applaud Jiggly for trying to go to places and talking about things that matter to him, albeit in a way that, here's the thing, it's going to step on a few people's eggshells, because you're talking about a person who's deceased, no longer here, about what they could think. That alone is a whole onion to a wrap.
It's a can of worms.
It's a can of worms.
Well, think
but at the same
about the
time,
Venn diagram that exists between, like, this person's not famous, but yet this person was a big part of a big community in a city of 3 million people. So there's going to be a decent amount of people that know about this person.
And that's where I come in, and I wonder what you guys say about
a
a thought experiment. And that's where I wonder, like, that's what Jiggly's trying to truly provide. He's like, hey, we have had passionate fans before. What would they be going through? Because look at us passionate fans. We are finding ourselves doubting our love for the Fire here and there. Would this passionate fan also be doubting themselves? It is an honest question to ask for anybody. And for that, I say, Jiggly was an interesting thought experiment. However, handling that is such a delicate balance.
It's a sensitive situation, and it's even more sensitive when, someone that might have known Brandon Kitchens reads this.
That was when someone who might have known Brandon a lot better starts to read that. So that's wherein lies not the problem, but so much the issue of writing such a thing. But I gotta applaud Jiggly for trying to take it there, because it's got us talking about some of these things. It's got us asking these questions about what it's like to be a Chicago Fire fan this long. And also, it honors and brings up Brandon. It brings him back up. It makes him relevant.
Right.
So props to Jiggly. Jiggly did all of that through his article, and I know that people took umbrage, were upset at it, and they have every right to be. However, it was good of Jiggly to maybe evoke these sentiments that maybe were latent in them, and that they got to get out as well. And then we as other Fire fans get to read this and also further get to appreciate Brandon's presence and legacy. So it's been an eye-opening experience for all involved, readers and writers, people who are upset, everybody. It's been great. And to me, also on top of that, Jiggly comes out and apologizes. To me, he did not have to. To me, you went into a place, you tried to do that, you did not have to apologize. However, he came out and apologized, and his apology actually adds so much further
context
and positive. It just shows the amount of reflection and thought that Jiggly put into this, that maybe some people did not think he put into. But it's hard. In order to tackle this concept, you need a long time, and Jiggly's got a limited time. What are you supposed to do as a writer? You got to get this out. He's got to get this out. He's got to run it through editors.
It's an article, not a novel.
It's an article, not a novel. And who knows? Maybe he can make an article or a novel out of this, because Jiggly has shown that he's learned from it. And to me, he admitted he fell short. He's corrected, and he's gonna. I guarantee you, Jiggly's gonna learn from this type of thing. He's a young kid. He's gonna learn. Sometimes you don't. Hopefully, you're lucky. I call it lucky to learn. I call it lucky to learn because I've been in that situation where you're not so lucky to learn, and you're dead. The person's dead. So if you're lucky to learn, you're lucky to learn, and take it for what that is. Sorry.
And just for some background information, Jiggly, he's grown up with this club. I think
absolutely
his parents were Fire fans before he even was born. So he grew up with this club. He is a diehard Fire fan. And also on that note, I just want to say, if you guys haven't had a chance, go, follow Men in Red 97. They do the Lord's work. Alex Calabrese
they're the journalists. We're reckless over here.
They're the journalists. They're ESPN.
We'll shoot from the hip.
Is an amazing
they'll take
journalist.
the calculated sniper shot because they got the research, the data, and we're like, we don't need the data. We're going in hot shots. But the fact that Jiggly has the brass cojones to navigate those tough topics to try and bring them up, to me, I applaud him for that, and I hope this does not stop him from doing it in the future. Nope. However, I also hope that he's able to take, from the lessons. I think everybody would hope that you just are able to take from the lessons. And it doesn't have to be the perfect lesson. And you watch Royko. There's a famous Chicago writer called Royko. You can look at the lessons that guy's learned throughout the years, like the 60s and the 70s.
Gentlemen, I'm going to have to make an apology. Because I'm going to have to apologize. I'm going to send this to the commercial break. Peace out. We'll be back to talk more fire.
Yeah, I figured the closer I could get to looking like Sparky, the better. I even started using some of his moves. Hey, James. Ha!
Better not choke. Dude, he's practiced for this. He's been practicing, so we'll see. Oh my God. He wanted to wear cleats. He wanted to wear cleats.
Let's go, James! Yeah! The air was electric. You could tell something special was about to happen.
Not that long, but it will be long. Let's go, James!
Let's go! Let's go, James!
That penalty kick wasn't just a goal, it was a statement. A statement that said, this game belongs to the fans.
When he grabbed the ball and ran it back to the center circle, I absolutely lost it. I mean, legend.
Years from now, we'll look back upon this as a huge turning point for fan participation in sports. Truly inspirational.
And so, a legend was born. Not just of a fan who took a chance, but of a moment that captured the heart of soccer enthusiasts everywhere. This has been the unforgettable penalty, and I, Archie Archives Galore, have been your host. Thank you, and good night.
Welcome back, enemies of the Fire. We are here talking the Chicago Fire, who opened the season with a 2-2 draw against Philly. Which, gentlemen, how'd you like the game?
Impressive.
Did you enjoy it?
Absolutely impressive to come out against one of the league's best, get that type of result. It leaves a few questions, leaves us asking a few questions. I think we're going to talk about those questions as we get into this. I mean, I guess the first one is Gutman. Is he going to be all right, or is the fact that he got an MRI?
He's going to play 3 minutes of this season. 3 minutes is all we're going to get out of it.
It's I think the last update is that they did an MRI on him last night, and they're just waiting back for the results. So,
which is not good.
Yeah, that's not good. I thought we'd have an update today. I thought we'd know. But
in watching the tape again, I started watching the entire game again, and in seeing the injury, it was not contact. He just turned and he gave that wolf and puppy eyes, raised his hand, and he knew it was over. And you could see all the coaches, even Ben Olsen on the other side, coming over, trying to give him a little bit of support because he pulled something in like his quad or his ACL, something here.
He tore his ACL. The best case scenario is he ripped up his hamstring, which
was
isn't
he skiing in the last few weeks? What was he doing?
You know what? You could kind of see it on his face. Like, you know, there's players that they'll just throw himself on the ground and PS it, but no, not him. He was like, nah, this is bad. You know.
Well, I got to tell you, I had a heart attack almost, like, for real. I was at the Go Tavern where the Logan Squares put on the game, and I'm watching it, and he's the furthest forward and on the field, like to the goal, and he goes down. So I'm like at a bar, my head's turned, and I see a white guy in the center of the pitch go down, who's the furthest forward, and I'm like, Kuipers, no, we've lost Kuipers.
Oh, yeah.
It's all over.
I can see that, yeah.
I can see that too.
I
was having a heart attack, man.
But yeah, so he went down. It was not good, and I mean, yeah, who knows how long it's going to take for him to get back, but it really sucks losing him. They were already attacking that side, but the rest of the game, they were just coming in on that particular side, Gasper.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a free kick here and there, maybe come on in on the other flank every so often, but really the attack for Philly, which was an attack, by the way, and probably better than the Fire's attack, by the way, most of the game, wasn't enough to crack the Fire as much. It's kind of wild. And watching that game again, you see the Fire are really, really, really lucky. So lucky to come out of that game. The first half was not the Fire's, and the second half was not the Fire's.
It was going back and forth.
It did go back and forth.
Really, I mean, I'm with you that they were pretty lucky, but I will say this. I'm curious about Guster, if that's the plan. If can Dean not play on the left? I would try him out on the left.
Gaspar.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, Gaspar. Yeah.
Gaspar, that's what it was. And then to your point, like, yeah, the Fire, I don't think controlled any part of the first half, but they did the second half.
Their offensive spurts they had. I'm not saying they didn't have offensive spurts. However, they didn't, to me, have a real offense, and this is a slight concern going forward. Where how many
training sessions have Kuipers had?
Kuipers has had 1 week. Kuipers has had 1 week.
He's had 1 week.
So you're right about that. And I'm not just speaking about Kuipers, but I'm speaking as collectively as a team. The Philly just were able to exist in the Fire's half better for longer, with more concentrated attack, whereas the Fire's attack was it oscillated between kickball, and then they would do a interesting direct counterattack where it wouldn't be kickball, it would be a direct work it out to the side, find the open man, boom, back inside, boom, work around that. And it was a good it threw Philly off because they were doing the kickball was working. The kickball
it was
actually working.
with a little bit more time, Kuipers is going to be better, and I think that'll look a lot better.
I think Kuipers will get better. Agreed.
And it gives freedom to Guti to do what he did, which is to an individual moment of brilliance.
I want to talk about both those players. Yeah. So Kuipers, I'll start with Kuipers. When I saw Kuipers get the 2 opportunities that he had, it made me think that if Giassi Zardes had the same opportunities, I wondered if he would have potted one of them. Because of the fact that he's a bit more of a speedster, and maybe because of that speed, it changes your dribbling ability a little bit on the speed. Where Kuipers is not a speedster, he has some dribbling ability, and I think we're going to start seeing a little bit more of that in the future. The MLS center backs shut him down. They absolutely shut him down on these one-on-one situations, and I'm wondering if Frank's offense would be more benefited by a forward who was better in those one-on-one type of situations, like a Cucho Hernandez. But Kuipers is not a Cucho Hernandez. So I wonder about this. And if Hugo Kuipers is the right type of striker for Frank's offense as currently constructed.
I would say so, because I would say this. Yeah. We just weren't ready. Kuipers wasn't ready. Give him. I'm gonna go 3 weeks on him before I start hitting any kind of panic button.
Yes,
right?
Agreed.
Now, as far as
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
We didn't start with Kellen Acosta on the field either.
Nope.
No.
So we might not need
player.
so many. We might not. Yeah, exactly. We might not need so many long balls if Kellen Acosta is there. Right? Like that changes the whole. And then any team that loses a player, even a left back, in the 3rd minute, your plan immediately goes out the window. You've got to completely change what you're doing. And it sucks, but it's just the truth. So I do feel like I have so much more positivity about this game than I thought I would, because even what we're talking about, we saw two fire things happen, and I'm still not all that mad about it. Like Tom Barlow completely bottled his chance.
Yeah,
on that one,
it looked like,
and then
for Shabilko,
right? Very Shabilko of you, and then honestly, we gave up a late goal without it feeling so rip your heart out like it normally does.
It didn't.
It didn't feel like as heavy or as terrible as when that normally happens, like the last 3 seasons, and so just that alone makes me wonder. Okay, the vibes at the very least are changing, and that's literally the first thing we needed to change. Like, this season, I have a feeling is going to be real whiplash, man. From like we look like gods to we look like garbage to we're trying to figure it out. We changed in theory 6 starters.
Yes,
you know what I mean. We got to give it time.
He needs to hit on all those starters, though.
It's a new back line, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Pineda playing. Pineda's back. He was playing center back with Rafa. Aragoni's on the right side. Koeman was on the left. Then it was Gaspar. So you had 2 new guys on there that were playing very pivotal, positions on that back line, especially with the way the Fire like to attack. The midfield for the most part was the same. That's, you had Selassie, you had Guti, you had Shaq, you had Herbers, you had Jimenez.
Oh, wait, were you guys surprised to see Selassie play over Mullen? I was.
Mueller,
yes. Frankie,
Mueller,
I heard Frankie, preferred Mullen, so I was happy to see
Mueller,
Selassie.
not Mullen.
Mueller.
Or Mueller. Sorry,
Mueller. Also, I was surprised to see Pineda, but I'll tell you what I wasn't in the second watch. In the second watch, I realized he might be the better defender. Because he's got the pace and the wheels to be. But Chicos has got the command and the great stick. He's got a stick like one of the best sticks in the league. Like he can stick you like no other. Basically, what I'm talking like his foot. You try and get by him, he'll stick you. Boom, you're not getting that ball by him. But Pineda's got. But Pineda's got speed. Pineda's got actual pace and acceleration to cover for the lack of pace of Chicos in an offensive. Pardon.
What about when you add Tehran into the mix?
I wonder who's faster, Pineda or Tehran. in
Well,
a
you get that physical
defensive
presence.
situation, because speed in drills is different than speed in game, and you guys know that.
Yeah.
I'm going Tehran all day long on
But
that.
Pineda put in an impressive shift, and I wonder, I mean, Pineda and Tehran might be the future for this defensive team if Chicos keeps playing so slow. I also wonder about Chicos resigning the captaincy. To me, this is something that's not been talked about, but that strikes me as a slight concern because I was
how much
super
does
confident in
the captaincy
Chicos.
matter, do you think? How much
Not a
does
lot.
it truly matter?
Maybe not a lot in MLS,
I don't think.
but I think it
Rafa,
does on a team
I
level.
I don't think Rafa wants to be screaming at the ref for bad calls. And he probably
You're
said,
probably
I gotta.
right.
Yes, and
It's kinda like- he was
Shaq
like-
does.
Yeah, he was like, I have a bad temper. I might tell this guy to F off or something, and I get a red card. I'll just give it to somebody else.
Mhm.
I don't know if you ever seen Shaq argue a call, but he does it in the most polite way possible. Like, he doesn't scream at him. He'll just go up to him like, "You see that?
Hey
Did
man,
you
you
see
ski?
that?"
Hey man, you ski?
Yeah.
Well,
I ski too. Well, look, he just skied all over me. So what the fuck is that?
Do we really think Shaq's going to be the captain and not Acosta going forward?
That might change. That might change.
Oh, that's a interesting
That is a good
point.
question. Yes.
But I gotta
Because, like,
say,
and then we
on.
just brought up Tehran, who everybody and their brother thought was going to be gone.
right?
So now we
Is he
have
staying?
Sahlquist.
You got
Who
Suket
who's
too.
Tehran.
healthy scratch? Sahlquist.
Right, healthy scratch Sahlquist, who apparently sounds like he sucks, is what everybody's saying. So we
Yikes.
have him. We in theory will have Tehran eventually. We've got Chios, we've got Pineda, and
We still
Omsberg.
got, we still
Does
got
Chios
Suket.
see a platoon in his future? And that's maybe why he gave it up.
Ah, there you go. Especially from what we saw, what I'm even talking about, where I'm saying
Yeah, you're
Pineda
high
was
on-
better
on
than
Pineda.
Chios in some regards.
So, we have a.
That's a good point.
So that's the thing. I would like to see Omsberg in the lineup, but if we get the 2 years ago Omsberg, not the one from last year, because the one from last year was a little quiet.
Well, I mean, I don't think it didn't Klopas coach the team when Pineda was breaking in as a center back his first time.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
I'd
So,
have to
like,
look that
the
up.
intern-
I think
intern roles
Klopas
he
just
had-
rates him. I think he just rates him.
You know who I'm a little worried about, though? I am worried about Shaqiri's lasting a whole season because and it's only because of how much running he was doing last game in a defensive standpoint. Last game, the Chicago Fire had like 44% possession, and I need Shaqiri to be running on offense rather than doing runs on defense. Now, guys, you watch last game, you're going to see Shaqiri who fucking running on defense. He is blazing on defense. He is tracking. He is doing all of the dirty work. It was super impressive.
Well, I didn't do a rewatch, but
I
I
did.
really felt like we
Yeah.
super dropped off as soon as we lost possession.
Yes.
Everybody got way back into
Yes,
position.
they
for
really
defense.
did.
There wasn't a lot of pressing. There was damn sure no Red Bull pressing.
The
but there
goals
was
were
not a lot of
miracles.
pressing.
The goals were not necessarily miracles but to be able to play
They were
that
not
much
miracles.
defense and then still have enough to run forward, that's
Well-
what has me worried about Shaqiri for the rest of the season because we need Shaqiri playing more offense than we need him playing defense.
But you gotta
Schweinsteiger
keep
could
in mind-
survive playing defense more longer. Shaqiri needs to let's get
Well-
that ball forward.
You got to keep in mind that even if Shaqiri doesn't play the whole season, we have backups for him. We have Mueller sitting on the bench.
You have a backup
Yeah.
for a $7.5 million DP? I don't think so. I don't
Yeah,
think
his
Mueller,
name is Guti.
I don't.
Guti.
Guti is the direct
Keep in
replacement.
mind-
1 minute.
Keep in mind.
1 minute on the clock, boys.
Keep in mind, Guti played better without Shaqiri on the field.
I mean,
'cause
He scored a
looked
goal
pretty
with
damn
Shaqiri
good.
on the field the other day.
Yeah, he looked
Yeah.
pretty good this game. I feel like we played well enough
Yes.
to beat more than half of
Yeah.
the teams in MLS
Yes.
on Saturday.
Yeah.
I think Philly's a good team. I think we showed better. I think we will show better against a crappier team, which
Yeah.
in the next segment we'll find out our next opponent is not that.
That's right. All right, boys and girls, we'll be right back after this. Messages from our sponsors here on Enemies of the Fire. Kick that like button, and we'll see you and comment below. We'd love to read your comments. Welcome to the most exclusive stadium seating in town. My living room. Kind of looks like my
serious about that?
basement.
Yeah. Is that even your living room, man? It looks like a green screen in the background. What's going on there?
I'm above the city in my basement.
Listen,
flying
I
now?
don't think it matters where he is. We're trying to pimp the podcast here, guys.
Oh yeah, the podcast, Enemies of the Fire, only on YouTube until further notice.
Until
You can watch James flying above the skyline.
yes. All right. No, this one is kind of goofy.
And we're back. So if you haven't done so already, check your emails. You're probably gonna see an email from the Flyers. You know, them hyping up the forecast for the home opener. It's gonna be 60 and sunny. But considering that the game is gonna be at Soldier Field on March in the lakefront, you might want to rethink maybe saying it's gonna be 40 and sunny, especially with that wind hitting. So try to get some layers on your skin, you know. Otherwise, you're going to be staying in the United Club the whole time.
The winter coats.
How do they feel about bringing blankets, by the way?
You could bring blankets.
Beach
Okay,
towels. Yeah. Beach towels. It's 60 degrees, boys. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, bring a snow coat. Not a snow coat, but a winter jacket. 40 degrees.
Yeah.
If you can
That
survive
gets cold.
Oak Street Beach, then come down to the game.
Don't confuse it for an Alaskan summer.
So we're gonna be playing. It's gonna be decent, right? It's not gonna be snow, but we're gonna be playing Cincy, which concerns me greatly.
Because they just came off a 4-0 win?
Well, the fact that they're just really good, and they're gonna have Matt Miazga, because apparently no one is ever suspended to play the Fire. So let's bring Matt Miazga and Miles Robinson together.
Can I blow your mind, guys? Because right now, Chicago Fire is predicted to win 42% to 32% of Cincinnati's versus a 26% draw.
Oh,
Keep
see,
in
I'm
mind-
so scared, man. Kuipers,
Yeah, look,
I don't
look,
think
look, look,
Kuipers
look,
is
look.
going to look good again.
I think we're overthinking this because, let's be honest here, Cincinnati tied 0-0 with Toronto, with last year's wooden spoon winner, at home. There's a lot of question marks there. You know,
Yeah, but they were all over them. They were unlucky not to score.
yeah, well, you can score 4 goals. You know, they pretty much scored 4 goals on like a semi-pro team, so they might get excited. And then when they think they're gonna try to replicate that on the Fire, that's when the mistakes are gonna happen. So think about that. You know, you're over here. You guys are getting scared, and
I'm concerned. I'm concerned that our big-time star striker, who will probably be fine, will look bad for another game, and then the pitchforks will start coming out.
Kuiper's hat trick next game.
Because I do rate highly. I rate Miles Robinson a lot. I think he's good, you know, and stick him next to Matt Miazga.
Why do you rate him so high?
Well, because I saw him play very well for the U.S. in Atlanta before he, snapped his twig. So,
And before he lost his shit at a restaurant too?
he lost his shit at a restaurant? What happened? Do we have is there a Miles Robinson Waffle House video?
You got TikTok of this? Let's see.
Here, let me. I gotta bring. Let me see. If I can find it.
I'll have to save that for the after show.
If there's a Miles Robinson Waffle House throwdown and I'm missing it, I'm mad.
In the
Here,
meanwhile,
I got you. This is an ESPN article.
You already have it up.
Right.
Oh my god.
I have it up. I'm trying to bring it up. Hold on. So this happened back, I think, a year ago. Well, September of 2022. Atlanta United defender Miles Robinson arrested for misdemeanor over a $5 shot. So,
well, it's the principle of the thing.
Well, if he's gonna bitch about, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I honestly, it sounds like he's a head case, and if you get someone that could really piss him off, he's a walking red card.
Okay, I hope you're right. That's what.
Isn't he coming back from injury too? By the way, wasn't he? Was he injured last year or the year before? That he was out for the whole season.
Last season, so he missed the World Cup.
Yeah. So, and guess what team he played against that caused that injury?
Was it the Chicago Fire?
Exactly.
Let's
Oh
go.
shit! Now, you know what? That was 2 years ago, by the way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, they don't have. Who did they sell? What goal scorer did they sell that they had?
I forgot. They sold to Club America, I think.
Brandon Vasquez.
Thank you, Brandon
yeah, there you go.
Vasquez. So I don't know what they look like on offense right now. I just know that they were a decent team that I don't think they disassembled too much. They'll probably come back to earth.
Well, keep in mind they tied 0-0 against a Toronto team that has barely changed.
Fair. But I mean,
think about that.
They won 4-0 today in leg 2 against Cavalier. Cavalier.
Is that like a Haitian team?
Cavalier. Matt might be Cavalier. They
Oh,
have won 6-0 on
Jamaican.
aggregate against Cavalier FC.
So I'm concerned. DPG is confident. Where do you sit, James?
For Chicago Fire against Cincinnati, I think they're going to fucking come out and storm to a victory like no other. It's going to be a 3-1 victory. Brady's going to let one up, but he's going to seal it up after that. There's going to be 3 goals, 2 from Kuipers, 1 from the left side. It's called Guti.
Okay.
It could be Shaq today, though, because Guti could share it. He might share it with Shaq.
You never know.
You never know. But, guys, we didn't talk about it yet, but is Guti special?
Duh. Dude, we just got to enjoy the season because he's gone.
Let me ask you this. Guy from Cincinnati scares you.
Let me take a look at is Luciano Acosta still there? FC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's there.
Okay, done.
He's still there.
Done.
They won the Supporter Shield by like 15 points last season. And they strengthened their defense. So I'm a little concerned because of the defense. Like, I don't necessarily think we're going to lose. I just don't think we're going to look good, which is going to start the concerns.
Well, they lost Alvaro Barreal, so I mean that is going to be a loss for them on the one side.
They lost.
Right side.
Here's the thing. They won that Supporter Shield on Brandon Vasquez's back.
He's gone.
And he's not here.
And Barreal's gone. So Barreal and Vasquez.
And they couldn't beat Toronto. That again hasn't changed much. They still got Bernardeschi. They still have Insigne. I think the Milkman's still playing as a goalkeeper. So,
Matt Miazga and Miles Robinson is that's an unreal pairing.
In Major League Soccer, yes,
that's an unreal pairing. But
that's what I'm talking about. I don't want Kuiper to look bad.
If they're both playing, that is really hard to stop.
So
I mean, look, Matt Miazga Matt Miazga is an old man. Miles Robinson is a walking case. So So let's be honest here. You get a guy that's fast enough, you'll blow right past Matt Miazga. Mm-hmm.
But who's fast enough? Who do we have?
Kuipers is not that fast.
Guti?
You got Selassie. Look,
Tom Barlow?
Oh, God. Don't read that guy.
Guti's got to keep cranking those shots.
Well, hold on. What do we think the lineup's going to look like?
For Chicago Fire?
Yeah, we know it's a 4-2-3-1.
That's actually a good call.
Are we going
to see any lineup changes beyond Gaspar coming in?
Yeah.
Or is
it's going to be Brady. It's going to be Aragoni. It's going to be Pineda. It's going to be Rafa. On the left side, that could be Gaspar. It could be Dean. We don't know yet.
Dean,
I'd like to see Dean out there.
Okay. The midfield. You're going to have Kellen Acosta start.
With who? With Herbers? With Fede Navarro? With Gaston?
I don't know if Acosta starts yet. They might work him in one more game.
I think he start him. He looked so good when he came in.
He looks so good.
One guy that I kind of want to see the pairing with is Fede Navarro.
Wait, you want to see him? No, Herbers.
No, I like Herbers, but I feel like he's gonna regress back to that.
No, join us on the dark side, Team Chaos.
My God,
Herbers.
Beware what you wish for, guys. Okay, I like to see. Okay, fine. It might be Herbers. You never know.
No, you can watch what you want.
It's probably gonna be Herbers. I just like
Jimenez over the DP Jimenez.
Oh God, shut up!
Don't bring that up, man. Okay,
Ale Selassie, does he maintain starting? because that would actually might see
who
Mueller.
you got in the front line there, DPG?
Guys, Mueller didn't get any game time last game
Not a
at
minute.
all.
Guti, Shaq.
Selassie, it's going to be him.
I say Selassie.
The only way Mueller gets in is be a sub right now because Mueller didn't play a minute last game.
I think it's gonna be Selassie. Yeah, it's gonna be Selassie. It's hard for me to believe that they're gonna put Chris Mueller to start when he didn't get any game time last week.
The plan was to get Mueller in, I guarantee it. But as we pointed out earlier in that earlier section, it's just when you lose Gutman, that throws out the whole plan.
Yeah, it throws everything out the window.
Yeah, and of course Kuiper's on top. I honestly think with the combination of, Guti, Shaq, Selassie, and Kuipers, you could pretty much overwhelm Miazga and Miles Robinson. Easy.
And Kip Keller.
And Kip Keller. I mean, Kip Keller's a nobody anyway. So, so...
I'm sure his girlfriend doesn't think that.
He's still a nobody, okay?
He's got more followers than me.
Who else is gonna again? This is like a Cincinnati team that has lost probably one of their, two of their best players.
Yes, that's a good point.
Vasquez and
hold on. With Lucho Acosta, are we not worried that that we're gonna lose Acosta going in a 4-2-1? Acosta being a part of the back two in the midfield means if we put Herbers in, he has to take over the defensive responsibilities for Acosta. So Acosta's going to have to guard Acosta, which means we lose that move going forward. And he's so much better on the ball than
you know what made Lucho Acosta good was Brendan Vasquez. He doesn't have that anymore.
Really, you think that's so?
MVP in DC.
It's Lucho Acosta. I always thought Lucho Acosta. I thought Lucho Acosta was overrated.
Okay.
I think he was overrated. They're hyping him too much. The only reason it worked out for him in Cincinnati is because he had a guy like Brandon Vasquez playing in front of him. He doesn't have that anymore.
Okay.
And we played Cincinnati last year, and we held them up. He couldn't do anything. So.
All right, so what's your score prediction?
I think Pat Noonan might have Frank Klopas beat in this next one, but I'm gonna still root for Frank Klopas.
You said 3-1.
3-1.
You think?
I think 3-1.
with Dose.
You can't sleep up Pat Noonan.
2-0. Who you got scoring?
I'm actually thinking Kuipers is gonna score.
Let's go.
And you might see Selassie score.
Yes, let's go. I'm rooting for a Shaq goal and 2 from Kuipers.
I feel like we're going to see a 1-1 draw, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully it's Kuipers first, but it'll probably be somebody weird like freaking Dean or Herbers.
And I would like to see the Chicago Fire only give up a goal on a corner kick and not in the run of play.
Yeah, I don't want to make a habit of giving up, dead ball goals, but it'd be nice
you
to
also
see
don't
them.
want to. Yeah, you're right.
So, back to my statement. Last year, Lucho Acosta had 19 goals and 12 assists.
That's a lot of assists.
That's big numbers.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder how many of those goals were made because you had a guy like Brandon Vasquez that's pulling attention to the defense.
Well, didn't Brandon Vasquez only score with 6?
Yeah, but considering that he was getting a U.S. men's national team call-up, obviously.
He only scored 6 goals last year?
Yeah, it wasn't like he didn't light the world on fire, right?
So that's interesting that he did not light the world on fire, but yet Chicago Fire also get Hugo Kuipers, who did not light the world on fire this last year, but the previous year did. It's just like Brandon Vasquez. Interesting. Well, maybe we got Europe's Brandon Vasquez and Hugo Kuipers.
No, I don't think so. I think
so. Last year,
1 minute on the clock.
So last year, Brandon Vasquez had 9 goals and 2 assists.
Okay, that was better than I thought.
Okay, the year before he had 19 goals.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
it's hell of a year, man.
Yeah, so I don't know. We gotta wait and see. I mean, besides Lucho Acosta is getting up there.
Oh, we lost you.
Oh no, DPG is
Like
down.
we know you're
Man
back.
down.
You're back. We lost
Okay.
you.
No, Lucho Acosta's getting up there in age, isn't he? Isn't he?
How old is he? 28?
Oh, I'm kind of curious now.
Oh my
never mind.
god.
He's 20. He's
getting
29.
up
He's
there.
29.
He's 29. He's
He's
5
29.
He's playing so long. He's
basically
played.
dead. He's a walking corpse.
Guys, he's 5'3".
No way. I am taller than
That is
Lucho
his
Acosta.
listed height.
Hell yeah.
The thing is that I'm kind of curious to see how he's going to perform this tomorrow. I mean Saturday.
He's performed
Okay.
admirably throughout his career in MLS. I don't expect that to change too much.
We'll see. Like I said, I was worried. I do foresee a 1-1 draw, but I hope I am so wrong.
Pat Noonan might be running a really tight team. I guess this is going to be our last segment, so we'll go over just a little bit here. But Pat Noonan runs a tight team. Klopas is going to be up against it with this one. And
Klopas will be
outcoached.
Klopas will be outcoached. We might not be outplayed. And I think that'll be the story of the season.
That's a good question. At what point do we see Frank Klopas start to get outcoached, and will they take action if we actually do see that? I don't know if we saw it the first game, but maybe we
Never.
did.
I told you, Joe has in his back pocket. He thinks he's going to get one of the big boys, like a Pep or like
Jose.
Jose. And so he's going to run Klopas until the end of the year, no matter what. We could lose every game of this season.
I would
Klopas
go
is here
every
till the
game.
end.
I would not miss a fucking game if Jose Mourinho was the coach of this team.
I know.
Right?
All right. So
Champions League football.
Okay, so
Every game, 1-0.
let's wrap this up, guys.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. We've run off the rails. You're right.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. So if you've made it this far, we want to thank you. But make sure to like and subscribe, leave comments, questions, all that other good stuff. It really helps the channel. Yeah. So I have been FC Neo Tokyo. This has been DPG, and this is James, and we have been the enemies of the fire. Peace and love.
All right, everybody. DPG, last words?
Nope.
And we're out.
Go fire.
Fire. Up the fire.
The thin crust is for the Chicagoans.
It's a
What,
trap.
like AI and write this or something?